Steven, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yeah.
So what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 2 a.m. in Sweden, aka We Got Next. I'm one of your hosts of the show, Hayes, aka AO Shifty, with the one, the only Magic Johnson, aka JJ Reddick, aka Steven at Steven_Springs. Steven, how you been?
Good man. Ready to rock and roll on this.
Yeah, so that's honestly how things have been for me. So one thing that I'll start off with, we usually do a hot take. So the first thing I'll do with the hot take, then we'll dive right into the finance, is hockey. So this is a surprising thing for me to bring up because I don't talk about hockey. But the funniest part about all this is everyone at my job loves me now. And they were texting me all during the game last night thinking, and I was telling people today, my actual friends, like Steven's one of them. And I was saying, these people think when the hockey season starts, I'm going to be talking to them about hockey. No, but when I have a bet on the line, I promise you I will do it. So for anyone that didn't hear in the beginning, when the Celtics and the Panthers were both up 3-0, I watched both of those games, game fours. Both games went to the underdog. So I wanted to see game five. And when the Celtics ended up winning game five, I ended up saying, all right, you know what? I'm going with the Panthers. It seems as though there's some sort of script. So I'm going to go with the Panthers. Panthers lost. So you know what your boy had to do? Double down on the next game because the Panthers lost game five. Panthers lost game six. So your boy then said, all right, I just ended up putting down, I'll be honest with you guys, because certain things in life have been good. So the first game, I had a $25 free FanDuel bet. Then the second time with that, I had a $25 bet that I just done my own. So first game, bet $50. I also bet $50 on the Mavericks. So I said, all right, you know what? This whole thing didn't work out. I got to double it. So I ended up putting $100 down on the second game, lost. And I said, I can either give up or I could just double down again. So your
Keep
boy
going.
said, $200
Keep
we
going.
just gonna put
Yeah.
down. And the worst part was I was texting one of my friends at work, coworkers, and he said, yo, because I wasn't watching, I was going on a walk. He said, yo, great start. It was 1-0 Panthers. I said, bet. Within 3 minutes after that, the Oilers ended up scoring. So it was 1-1. So it didn't even matter what they just did. And I was telling everybody, I said, all you have to do is score first and don't let the announcers keep saying McDavid. If you hear McDavid early, you're done. Like the more you hear McDavid name like quick, you're over. It's done. So then it just became 1-1 throughout the whole game, then 2-1. And when I tell you the last 3 minutes of that goddamn game, I
Bro.
have never been so
Bro.
worried.
I so yeah, we were watching it and like it was exciting, but for like different reasons.
Yeah.
Um I had some of the boys over to watch it, and yeah, like the last 3 to 5 minutes, that was great hockey, and every
Insane.
every every shot on goal missed by like like an inch to a foot, and it was something hit the
Yes.
post. McDavid was trying to get it in there, and like the final 30 seconds, like the final minute and a half was kind of like you're waiting for something to happen, but like they kept losing the puck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was yeah. I wanted Edmonton to win. Because they were down 3-0, and I really wanted Connor McDavid to get one,
Yeah.
but I wasn't like pissed off that the Panthers won. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean that was a great hockey game for sure.
So for a regular fan looking at it, it was probably one of the best kind of ways a game can end. I'd rather 2-1 than it be 8-1, aka how Edmonton was doing things before. The other thing I was explaining to people is you could be able to tell who was going to win this game by the shot differential. So in the beginning, the Panthers had the edge, and the past three games before then, Edmonton Oilers had it. That's really kind of how it worked out. Bobrovsky, just his momentum, his psyche, everything was off. And
Crazy.
that's the one thing people needed to understand. They said, Bobrovsky did so well in the playoffs. He deserved MVP. Hell no. Connor McDavid from start to finish
Bro,
deserved it. If he was not on that goddamn team, they would not have even won the three games.
I was so for people who don't know about the Conn Smythe Trophy, it's not just for the Stanley Cup Finals; it's for the
No.
entire playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And McDavid was setting records left and right,
Yep.
and dominating everybody. Um, if the NBA did that, I think LeBron would have gotten it for the last 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Like he was typically start to finish best player in the playoffs. At least
Mm-hmm.
like his last stint in Cleveland, he was for sure. And then 2020, like I always forget about that because no one does that other than hockey. But yeah, good for him. Like he'll get another chance, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
Him,
he's
yeah,
too good. He's too good not to. You know.
yeah,
They usually they have a good team around him. It's like the Penguins with the Crosby and Evgeny Malkin.
yep,
But yeah, that was a now that everything's over with, it's like I'm so glad the Olympics are happening now.
yo,
We don't talk about that tonight, but I don't know if you watched the track and field I think
I
semifinals
did. My man put
or
out his Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
yeah, fucking Noah Lyles, man. He was moving, dude. That's yeah. We can talk
Yeah,
about the Olympics at a different time, but those man, those athletes are incredible, dude.
yep.
Absolutely like one of one. Those people are one of
So
one.
I wanted to start today bringing that up because we'll dive into almost analyze it all throughout the whole summer. But my question for you was, what is your favorite event in the Olympics? You cannot say basketball and you
Uh,
cannot say soccer.
I would say the 100-meter dash and
Hmm.
the 100-meter freestyle and swimming.
Swimming. Yeah.
I think we got super lucky, like the 2008 and 2012. I was like that stretch for Phelps and Usain Bolt. Obviously, like the men's team, like they did their thing, but like that's like peak like athleticism. Fastest man in the world is incredible,
Hmm.
and the fastest human in the water, which is
Hmm.
I think people don't really understand like how impressive that is. The swimming, I know, like it's what Usain Bolt does. The numbers that he had, during that run were just like otherworldly. But what Michael Phelps did in the pool is just fucking
Insane.
incredible, dude.
Insane.
Incredible. And he
Yeah.
did it for like he was dominant all the time.
Yep.
And again, like I'm not saying what Usain Bolt is doing is like not, what he did was not like crazy human ability that only one person can do.
Hmm.
But what like being around swimming now, like that now that Mia does it,
Dog. Yeah,
I see these high school kids that are going to college. One of the kids on the team, his name is Cooper. His mom was a collegiate swimmer, and he's he's ranked as one. He's 15. He's one of the top 50, like nationally ranked 15-year-old swimmers in the country. And
hmm
watching him like in like a neighborhood pool, just like he's down and halfway back before the other kids are down once,
Yes.
and like
Yes.
just gliding in the water, dude. It's so impressive.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but swimming in track is just like the shot put and like the discus throw and like the long distance stuff is nuts too, because those guys are
Hmm.
just those are some of the premier athletes that we'll ever see. But I would say it's definitely swimming um and track and field, mainly like the 100-meter dash.
Yep. Yeah.
I know
So
you're a big
though
track guy too.
I am. So
Love
100
watching it.
meter. Yeah. So 100 meter, 200 meter. And then I love the 4x4
Ooh, relays.
relays.
Yes.
Yes. Those
Yes.
things.
Hell yeah.
So,
Hell
because
yeah.
you can tell, I love also watching the highlights when you can absolutely tell who was the one that brought somebody back.
Yep.
Because all the time, it's not always that first person, it's those two in the middle that can pick up so much time
Yep.
and then keep going. But my other one, oddly enough, I like water polo. It kind of goes
That's
into the
tough.
same thing.
That's
Yes, it
crazy.
is because you are not touching the ground. You are still
Bro,
moving.
you're like that is full body the
Yes,
entire time, dude.
yes,
Entire time. And you're holding the ball up here and like
yes,
you're like, that it's yeah, and you're just hanging out, dude, in the water, just chilling.
exactly.
Doggy paddle for however long, an hour. I don't know,
Yep.
fucking it's crazy.
So the Olympics are July 26th to August 11th. We will for sure be talking about it. Probably all the different type of events. I don't know if I'll talk as much about archery and
What are the
different ones
dates?
like
What are the
that.
dates you say?
July 26th to August
Yeah.
11th. Yeah. So of course, anyone that has
That's it?
Peacock, yeah,
Huh.
it
Where? That's fun.
happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it always happens like really, really fast. But then I don't know, it's crazy. It's in Paris as well for anyone that was curious about that. Yeah, Friday, July 26th to Sunday, August 11th.
I'm gonna be
And
in Jamaica for a good bit of that actually.
oh snap.
That'll be
So
cool.
shout out to you.
Shout out.
Yeah, so that's a big thing over there. They say it's 329 events and 32 sports. And the opening stuff of everything is the 26th. I assume some main light torching and all that stuff will probably happen before July 26th. But that's kind of the big thing to end up paying attention to. Basketball, we can all kind of tell who's going to win. for the
Look,
men's
man,
basketball and
I
women's.
I saw some of the rosters for the other countries from the NBA, and they're fucking loaded, right?
They
Some
are,
of those
yeah.
European teams, dude, are I would not be surprised if they won. But knowing what I know about the team that we have and who's on the
Hmm.
team, I really just don't think there's anybody in the world that's going to beat the USA.
Nope.
And you got
And
LeBron, Durant, Steph, all those guys just dicking around and just
hmm
like just hooping. Oh, my camera's
hmm
going out. Looks like. But they're just those guys are just going to be just hooping. It's gonna be
yeah,
great though because there's so much competition in the world. Of course, my camera's going out. The Canadian team is pretty good too. They're pretty stacked.
they do. Yeah.
Stacked, bro.
And honestly, you have to credit so many different people, whether it's Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, all these people helped because then it brought on your Lucas, even your Peja Stojakovic back in the day, Dirk
Yeah.
Nowitzki. Everyone kind of helped bring it to what it is now because you have Canada, you have the French team is going to be good, Greece is going to be good,
Wemby.
Italy will be solid as well. Spain all the time is going to be out there. Slovakia and those countries are going to also be showing something.
Hmm.
But a big thing that is really interesting because we would have never heard about this before, the Bahamas. So the Bahamian team
Yes,
is
I saw that last
going to
night.
be
Great team.
solid. Only thing about that team is they don't have a point guard. Like if you look at the whole team, Buddy Hield's more of a shooting guard, Eric Gordon's shooting guard, Klay Thompson's shooting guard. It doesn't mean
Fucking Clay
anything in
Thompson,
terms.
dude.
Exactly. Then you have DeAndre Ayton that's on the team. Back in the day, this was not the case. And it just shows you how much talent is in the NBA now because all these players are NBA players. It's
Yeah,
not like they're
like
playing
legit.
overseas.
Some all stars. Like
Yes.
really, like the Canadian team has a bunch of elite talent too.
Yes.
Bunch of it.
So that's how you know with Joel Embiid playing here,
That's wild
promise
too.
you it was probably 50-50. It was them saying, hey, we want you, but also Joel Embiid saying, hey, let me play. Because years ago, they wouldn't necessarily need Joel Embiid. These are one of those years of, all right, you kind of need all the talent you can get because all these other teams are hitting each other up like, yo, we're going to stack a team together. Australia's another one too. So some of
Yes,
these
yes.
different
Sneaky
divisions,
good.
they're going to be solid.
Mhm.
Remember back in the day, you had Puerto Rico that was good. Of course, you had the Dominican Republic that used to be solid. All
Jeez,
these different
lots
ones,
of
and
talent.
now you have So that's what I wanted to bring up over there.
Even like China is a good. They have a great team, dude.
Solid, yeah.
Very solid. Yes.
Yep. So it's going to be something to watch. In that one, I won't bring up the other side of the coin with Olympics and basketball, but we'll bring that up in a different day because they have 3-on-3. Then they also have something else. Other thing I wanted to do just finance wise. So I talked to one of my friends that is really big in finance. So we always chop it up, maybe mostly on Sundays. We talked for like an hour and a half just about the stock market, crypto market. Things I want to talk about are so Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon are four stocks you need to pay attention to just going forward. The other thing is Bitcoin chopped and went down to 59K. It did rebound, but some things you want to pay attention to is that Ethereum ETF is something that's going to be important when that does or does not come out. Next month is the Bitcoin conference. So right now, they can't officially announce it because he is a presidential candidate, but Donald Trump will be speaking at a Bitcoin convention, they have said, in July. There is only one Bitcoin convention happening in July, and that's the one I've been talking about. It is Bitcoin Nashville, which at one point I was going to go, but now if you look at the prices, all of them have shot up. Why? Because security, everyone's going to be there because of him. You can't have shit happen to Donald Trump. And so they're saying he's going to be talking about Bitcoin at this conference. All you have to do is respectfully, you just have to get the dum-dums that are like, oh, you know what? He's going to talk about Bitcoin. Cool. The price is going to go up. When if Biden did the same thing, price would just go up. All they want is just some sort of person to talk about it to make them feel good. But he's not the one you do actually want. You want the BlackRocks of the world, you want the Fidelities, and then you want the Vanguards to continue to buy, which will allow price to continue to go up, and then also the miners to continue to do mining. And it's just going to continue just because of the Bitcoin halvings. Other thing just to mention are meme coins are another sector now. At one point, it was just Dogecoin. People heard about it, Shiba Inu. There are various other
Shiba
ones that
Inu, the
people
homies.
definitely talk about. Exactly. And so ones to just pay attention to are Brett, which is on base, Rito, which is Resistance Dog, which is on ton, Ton blockchain. For anyone that doesn't know what the Ton blockchain is, that is the Telegram blockchain. That's another social media platform. Another one is Floki. I remember when the homies first brought that one out, and now they're sitting over billions of dollars. And then another one is Bonk. So Bonk is one that I have a lot of too. Just watch those, and then with aka Dog with Hat. So that's the main thing over there. I'm going to use this segue to then bring it back to sports and a couple of finance things to talk about. Number one, Monty Williams is forever my GOAT in life. I don't care what anyone says. It used to be Jimbo Fisher, but I really think that Monty Williams is better because he is going to get paid $65 million from the Pistons to not coach. On top of that, he is going to get paid still $20 million from the Phoenix Suns to not coach. Then on top of that, they are saying some teams are still looking at him as a head coach or an assistant coach.
That's crazy.
What do you have to do in life? I promise you, if I was released from two different teams, I don't really care to coach again. But you're going to coach. You're getting paid from two different organizations. Only in sports can you get paid from two organizations and not even be there and then have another job. My job asks me, do you have any other jobs?
No,
they don't.
That's so wild. Like $65 million, bro.
Yeah. To not coach, to not work your job.
Yeah, to not be a part of that organization in any capacity.
No.
Like you're not even like at Pistons, .com or some shit like that. You're done. Like you're out.
Yes.
And you get $65 million.
Exactly.
Sign me up, dude.
Sign me. There's
Bro, I'll take 10.
Exactly.
I'll take a mill.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that $65 million. Not that he needs it.
Nope.
Not that he needs it, but I should not gonna say no.
Exactly. So
like how do they do that? Like, oh god.
And it's because coaches' contracts are guaranteed, which is the annoying part. If you ever wonder why you have not heard from Steve Nash, that is why, because he's still getting paid from his contract.
And he probably made like $100 million in his career.
Smooth money, yes.
Yeah, right. You're good.
Only in sports, you get to try something out, you're not good at it, and they still pay you.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, did you see JJ Redick's contract? 4 years, $52 million or something like that?
Really?
That's what I saw. I don't want to say that's true, but I think it is. Regardless, if I asked you how old JJ Redick was, what would you say?
I don't know why 37, 38.
So he's 40. Yesterday was his 40th birthday. I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
Also, if he didn't go to Duke, people would love him.
Yeah. If he went that's another thing.
If he went to UConn, Syracuse, Carolina, UCLA, anywhere but Duke, being a white guy, people would have loved him. He would have been one of the most transcendent athletes, like college athletes ever. And he was, a different way. But yeah, these contracts are stupid for coaches, and no one talks about them because they just they hire him and that's it. Like they don't they don't talk about the details of the contract. But these coaching contracts are nuts.
Yeah, they're saying that his contract, of course, it's going to be 4 years, and they said it's in the neighborhood of $8 to $9 million
per year.
So per year.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah. So, of course, every detail isn't put out there, and that's coming from the same point of
playoff incentives too, probably, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So all of that kind of goes into it. And when they talk about the word networking, this is the definition of networking because he just was in the right circles. He did all his podcast stuff. And Steven was one of the first to say that podcast definitely was used kind of as an interview because of the fact he said he's not going to do the podcast anymore right now. Of course he's not. There's no way they're going to. So people are probably upset that they only put out 3-4 episodes.
I think he's going to do fine. I think he's going to hire a great team, a great staff.
They were saying Rondo maybe.
Yeah, I think he'll put together a great staff. He's super intelligent, super intelligent in multiple ways. He's very articulate. He sounds good. He sounds extremely confident. And there's levels to knowing the game. Steven Jackson and just going to the podcast space, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, they know hoops, right? They were two really good players. Good players for a long time, savvy guys. They know the game. They can break down X's and O's to a strong level. But JJ Redick is like a different level. And like
Yep.
that's why him and LeBron probably did that podcast, because like they have the same basketball mind. Like they know the exact same shit. And I think I feel like it can't be hard to coach those two guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what they do well. Like the pick and roll is just, it's unstoppable with them. And then you surround them with shooters and like, maybe a big man, but I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows what he's getting himself into. I mean, again, he was the most hated man in sports for like 4 years when he was at Duke.
Yeah.
And people wanted him dead
Yeah.
back in the day. I think he's
One
gonna be
thing,
fine.
one thing with that they've kind of been missing, the Lakers, is that spot up 3-point shooter. And who better to kind of figure out that spot up 3-point shooter than the one that did it so well?
Yes.
So
Like,
he probably knows all the different ones, whether it's in college or in free agency, who they should kind of go after to help LeBron and AD.
did you watch any of his press conference?
I did when
You
he
sh-
said,
yeah,
I,
I don't give a fuck. Like he sounds very confident. Like he
mm-hmm,
knows what he's getting himself into, and he's just like, I'm just gonna coach these guys. I'm a very intelligent guy. He knows that he has LeBron and AD. AD's still in his prime, and he's gonna make him the focus of the offense, as Darvin Ham should have done. But
mm,
that's why he's no longer the coach of the Lakers.
yeah. Crazy part about, I will say, with any coach or anything like that, you start to hear about all this negative publicity surrounding JJ Redick. None of this ever came out when he was on ESPN, when he was anywhere. But now, because he's the coach,
Yep. Or even
oh,
when
we're
he
gonna bring it up.
even when these discussions were started like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
or when the podcast came out, like where was it then? Like
never.
I love when that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. So they
Love when
kind
that
of,
happens.
and people just want their 2 seconds in the limelight. Usually they always say, oh, take XYZ side, but JJ has been in the spotlight for a minute. You
Are
could
you
have
talking
done
about the
so many
racial
times.
slur?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's so many different things that you could have said, oh, JJ did this, that, and the other way long ago, but you said, Lakers, oh, this is my time.
It's also not like he was like, if you go back, he was like, he wasn't like Grayson Allen. Like people hated him just to hate him. Like he
He
was
wasn't
nice.
a
No,
bad,
he wasn't a bad dude. Like he would draw back. He would like do shit with the crowd, like whatever. But like it was never like malicious. He wasn't tripping people like Grayson Allen was.
mm-hmm,
Like he wasn't doing shit like that. So and he was one of those guys where I definitely hated him in college too. But I
mm-hmm,
respected him as his career went on, and like he knew what he was good at, and he did just that for like 12 years.
yeah,
It
exactly.
made a boatload of money. He was on some good teams. He was
Mm-hmm,
never asked to do much. Like he knew exactly what he needed to do every time, and he did it.
yep,
And
yeah,
like he's a playing for Coach K for 4 years. That means something, right? He was
yeah,
around play with Chris Paul. That means something. He was with Doc Rivers for a little bit. That means something.
mm-hmm,
Um, he was able to see the game as an analyst, like do all that and break it down different ways. Got a good relationship with LeBron. That doesn't hurt. So yeah, I think he's gonna be fine, and his
mm-hmm,
staff is gonna be elite too, probably, especially guys
yeah,
like Rondo, like-minded basketball people. But yeah, I think Lakers in 6, dude.
yep. So
All
we're
in.
gonna do a quick sports game called Dumb, Stupid, or Good Deal. The first one is Kenny Atkinson signing with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Um, Good young core, good move.
Next one, Scotty Barnes, 5 years, 270 million.
That's bad. I don't like that at all.
I don't think
I don't like that at all, dude. That's a horrible move. That's so much money. Oh god,
that is.
that is
And
so much
then
money for like a top, like, what is he, like top 15, maybe, right? Top 20,
really, you think so?
maybe like I probably top 30, I guess. Like on a good night. On a good
Because I
night.
say on the flip side, Pascal Siakam got a 4 year, $180 million deal.
That's probably underpaid. Then they should probably just
Exactly. That's
flip
what I'm
those contracts
saying.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next one, and I saw this on ESPN. I personally don't know how to take this, and I know they're just trying to reach here. So one of the headlines said, "How big is the gap between the U.S. men's national soccer team and Argentina's soccer team?"
Oh boy. What was the context of this?
They were just trying to say how much better the U.S. men's
Oh,
national team has gotten. And for me personally, the gap is from here all the way to like Pluto and
yeah.
Saturn. I
It's not
promise
even.
you, it's not close at all.
Not
After they
it's not
just
even
won the
close.
World Cup, no. it doesn't matter how many of our players have gone over to Europe to play. It's not close. So
that's all I care about.
exactly. Just finding headlines, because like you just said, there's not many sports right now. They know it too. So they have to figure out different things to end up bringing up. So this goes into one of our favorite segments that we've been doing, and that is the NFL division breakdown. We finished off the AFC, and now we're going to go into the NFC. So the first one we're doing is the NFC East. And for anyone that does not know who is in the NFC East, we have the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders. Last year, the Cowboys did take over the division and end up winning it, although the Eagles definitely should have had that. Cowboys finished, I don't know how they got home field advantage, but they did. But they had home field advantage in the NFC East. They had a record of 12-5, Eagles 11-6, Giants 6-11, Commanders 4-13. Giants Commanders did not make the playoffs. Other notable information in that division: the Commanders did get a new quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Giants did get a stud wide receiver. The Eagles did lock up their wide receiver 2, and the Cowboys just were the Cowboys, and they brought back Ezekiel Elliott. So my notes that we'll end up going into, I'll start it off. So we normally end up talking about each individual, like quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense, O-line. This one's fairly simple, more so because it's only really 2 teams. A lot of my choices are 4. And then after that, we'll kind of go into the draft picks. So quarterback, I said the Eagles just because of Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts are very close to each other. Running back, you have Saquon Barkley. No one else kind of is right there right now. Wide receiver, a lot of people are going to be surprised. I really like CeeDee Lamb. And then that second one, Brandon Cooks, he really did do well last year. You do have A.J. Brown, and then you also have Devontae Smith. There's just something about, I will take CeeDee Lamb going across the middle over A.J. Brown right now.
Wow.
And then Brandon Cooks compared to Devontae Smith. A lot of people will say Devontae Smith. I am taking the streaker in Brandon Cooks. If you have him going straight down, then you also have CeeDee Lamb going across the middle. Now, the other surprise, tight end. I love me some Jake Ferguson. So Jake Ferguson's another one. So the Cowboys on that one. Then defense, if we're looking at last year alone, the Cowboys. The Eagles defense are some shit. I will admit it. The Giants defense wasn't really there. The Commanders had a solid defense before they started trading away all their pieces. Then going back to the O-line, if you brought in Saquon Barkley, you know you have to have a solid O-line there. So I chose the Eagles offensive line. I'm on that one.
Wow.
You got it.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
It was aggressive. Very aggressive. All right. Quarterback, Jalen Hurts, easy. Eagles. I think the Eagles have yeah, I would say most of this is going to be the Eagles. Best running back when healthy is Saquon Barkley. I think he's probably the best running back in the league when he's healthy. I'm not like CeeDee Lamb is an elite receiver, but I think AJ Brown is hitting a stride right now that having Jalen Hurts and having Saquon Barkley, I think he's going to have a potential MVP caliber season. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, people like if he would be number 1 receiver on probably pretty much any other
good
team.
amount of teams. Yeah,
love Paris Campbell. Hate him in college. I think he's great. Underrated. Tight end. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Dallas Goedert, good security blanket, and I'm probably gonna say they have the best offensive line. So I think top to bottom, they have the best offense. Probably maybe not best offense in the league, but very close.
Yeah.
Defense, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys because Micah Parsons is the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
I think he's also gonna hit that stride as well. So that'll be fun to watch. I also like, DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side. Yeah, Diggs, Hooker, Bland. He had a fucking million interceptions last season.
He did.
So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys defense.
Okay. Do you want me to start with the picks or do you want to go with the picks?
I'll keep going.
Okay.
I think the Eagles have the best draft, maybe in the league. I love Cooper DeJean. I think he's super underrated. I think he's gonna fit in nicely. Will Shipley, running back from Clemson. I think it's he's not going to get a ton of touches, but I think he's a guy that can definitely learn from Saquon Barkley. Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Clemson linebacker,
Hmm.
also really great player. Not the biggest guy. He's not like his dad, but I think he's definitely really, really good. So I think they had the best draft. The Cowboys had a terrible draft. They had no good players drafted. None on my list. I do not like the Jane Daniels pick either. I don't think he's going to be that good. But I guess they need to get a quarterback at that point. Malik Neighbors, I do like him. LSU wide receiver. Shout out Theo Johnson, 4th round.
Shout out.
But I think the Eagles blew it away. I think that Cooper DeJean pick on the back half of that defense. I love Jeremiah Trotter. He's a good special teams guy. Yeah, I think the Eagles had the best one. But if I had to pick 3 players, I'll go different ones. I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean, Malik
Hmm.
Neighbors, and I'll say, oh man, I guess Jaden Daniels. I mean, whatever. Like this, I'm not. There's no one on the Cowboys that I have any interest in whatsoever.
Really?
No, no. I think Tyler Guyton. I think he's good. No. I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna look at the Cowboys.
Okay. So it's funny that you said that because one of my top ones, just because the Cowboys randomly will have a cornerback that you're over here thinking, where do they come from? So the first one I have is Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest, cornerback. And I'm only saying that because Bland just had a random ass year with all his interceptions.
Did.
Diggs will have solid years with random interceptions. Gilmore, when he was there, had a solid year with random interceptions and shutdown. So if you just put Carson's in like the nickel package or anything like that, you don't need him on the outside. Just put him on the inside somewhere. If he gets some random interceptions, I think he can do well. That does not always mean they are the best player on
Sure.
defense, but if
Right
they're
place,
in the
right
right
time.
system, exactly. The second one, I didn't want to say it, so I have 4 just because he said it as well. Malik Neighbors, only because he's such a good wide receiver. Is his
Mm-hmm.
quarterback good? Hell no,
Nope.
absolutely not. You've seen it already in training camp and shit like that.
Jeez.
How the ball would just be all over the place. Malik Neighbors looks like, what the hell is this? The next one is you went with DeJean. I'm gonna go with the other one, Quinyon Mitchell. I
Fair.
think that I don't think he is at the level of Sauce Gardner, but he reminds me of that type of player, not the top college that he's coming out of. And it's like, all right, you know what? He might be able to end up doing it. Personally, me, selfishly, they chose 2 cornerbacks. If one of them turns out well,
Fucking
I am perfectly fine with that. The final one are 2 tight ends that I'm going back and
Theo
forth with.
Johnson.
Theo Johnson is one. The other one is Bensonot for the Commanders. I don't know which one is going to end up translate, but they both are safety blankets over there for their quarterbacks. One has a decent quarterback that'll probably need a check down. The other one has a quarterback I wish they never gave him any dollars from that contract. But here we are, so we can't really do anything with it. Other than that, this division is over with. What division do you want next?
Let's go NFC West. Let's go opposite side of the country.
Okay. So we can do NFC West for anyone that doesn't know. That's with the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams, and who else do we have out there?
Car-
That's
Cardinals,
Seahawks,
Seahawks.
Rams, and 49ers.
There you go. Bingo.
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be an exciting division to talk about. But we got 5 minutes. What you got?
Let's see here. Not a whole lot, man. Shout out to Jay Hill.
Shout out.
He is the new director of player development at Penn State for the football team. Obviously, you know that. But he has his hands in a lot of different things, which is great for your boy.
Yeah.
Because right now is really hot time for recruiting, a lot of official visits, all that kind of good stuff is going on, a lot of like decommits, commitments, this and that. So he's just like feeding me information. And it's one of those like, it's not what you know, it's who you know type of deals.
Exactly.
You've been around him, benefit a lot from
Yeah.
what he's able to do. So I'm very pumped about that. I have two road games on which you're going to one of them, Wisconsin. Free tickets, dude. Like that's in sports, man. I'll take free tickets over a lot of different things for sporting events. Like
especially with the prices nowadays.
Hell yeah, dude. That's such a big expense that we just don't need to worry about. Home games, were good. Like, we benefit a lot from those as well, which is dope. So shout out to Jay Hill, man. Like,
shout out.
Fucking, doing his thing at Penn State, like, couldn't.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish he could do would be get me a job.
Yeah, see, exactly.
But him and I are thinking about doing something with a podcast, doing something with the Quick Slants, doing like an insider type of deal. But now that we have full access, I mean, we're in there, man. We're in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's such a good thing to have too. Shit like that, like inside, dude. College football is like, it's the mob, dude. It's crazy. And like, he just keeps telling me all this shit that's happening, and it's great to have because he's like, yeah, you can tell whoever you want, and like no one else knows this shit. So
exactly.
Football's next Adam Schefter.
Yes, sir. That's honestly how it starts. You just have to know the right people, and then
dude, it's not what you know, it's who you know, because then you know a lot.
Yep. So you just gotta. So Steven might become the celebrity athletic snitch. Man. I got 2 things, and I'll make this in 1 minute. The first one is, so in Baltimore, they're selling the Topgolf that is there. It's wild. It's very interesting. They're going to figure out what to turn it into.
Wait,
but that's something that I did hear that they're working
around anymore.
It's going to be there. They're just going to redo it into something else. So that's the word on the street that they've been saying. They're going to figure out what they're going to turn it into. I heard this from the BP at my job. So 70% chance that is correct information, but no one's perfect. So it could be 30% he's wrong. The other thing is, earlier this week, I went with one of my other jobs and we went to paintballing with the kids. When I tell you, taking kids paintballing, so little rich kids,
horrible, dude,
boys and girls going paintballing, and they get shot, and all you hear them say is like all the time, to the point that they wanted like the gator to cart them down the field so that they didn't have to do it anymore. Funniest thing ever. Then they all want to sit together, so the counselor's up to just shoot up a whole group of them. And then one little girl, poor her. First off, they come for money. She said she started crying because the paintball gun noise sounded like a gun. And in my head, I said, sweetie, this is very different. Like, let's not go there, because I did not think it sounded like a gun. It sounded like a regular paintball gun.
It sounds like a paintball gun, yeah.
Exactly. So for anyone that doesn't know, this was the size of the ball that they got hit with.
You ever hear the paintball gun?
Yes.
It hurts.
Yeah, it does. But it's so much better now than it was back in the day. Yeah. Like back in the day, you would have whelps. Now it's like, huge all right, ones.
Huge ones, dude.
So nowadays it's not as bad. But next week we got the NFC West. We will have more talk in terms of probably, we'll talk about some golf stuff because we have the time to talk about that and the Olympics. But until next time, we out.
Peace.